Okay, and I guess my first question is, first of all, just talk about how excited you are to be here in Berkeley County, taking on this new role, and what do you hope to bring to the table?
Okay. I'm very excited about being here in Berkeley County. You know, when I talked with the board about this position, I said, you know, I'm not just looking for a job, I'm looking for a match. And when I read the Berkeley County advertisement, I was really taken by the things that they were looking for. They were looking for somebody who had leadership experience, management experience, instructional experience, and experience in communication. And I feel like I've had an opportunity in all of my previous, I'll call them my previous lives, so to speak, with all the things that I've done to have had an opportunity to develop a strong skill set in each of those areas. And then I read on about the fact that it was a growing county, and I find growth to be very exciting. In my time, I've dealt with communities that were on a decline, as well as communities that were growing, and it's a whole lot more fun to grow. Although it has its own share of negatives, it's a lot more fun to grow and plan for the future than it is to start looking at how you have to close schools or you know, reduce the number of employees in your school division. So I'm excited about Berkeley County, and you drive through here and you know, you got almost new cities going up, you know, along I-26. So I think it's a very, very exciting place to be.
And you talked about your many lives or your past lives.
Yes.
Can you talk about, for people who aren't familiar, can you talk a little bit about your background as an educator?
Absolutely. Long-time educator. I've been in it because I love it. I'm very passionate about schools and about teachers and about student achievement and making progress in educational endeavors. And I've been a classroom teacher. I've started out as a history teacher, taught U.S. history in a large high school in Danville, Virginia. I've been a guidance counselor in a high school and in a middle school. I've been a assistant principal, a principal, an area superintendent. I worked in a very large county that had 75,000 students, and so we divided it up into area superintendents. And so I got to do that for a while. And then I was associate superintendent for curriculum and instruction. I think in our community it's better known as the chief academic officer. So I did that for Brevard County Schools in Florida for quite a few years. Then I went to Virginia again, where I started my teaching career, and I was superintendent there for the last 5.5 years in Montgomery County, Virginia. So I like to say I've done all the jobs. And when you think about it, you know, although I haven't been a custodian or a bus driver, I have chaperoned a lot of field trips in my life on a bus, and I know a lot about that, and have great respect for people who ride around with all their kids behind them every single day. Cleaned a few classrooms in my time, worked on a few lunch lines because it takes everybody to keep the schools running, and you never know what you're going to be doing when you walk in the door in the morning.
Now, there has been sort of like, I mean, I'll go ahead and call it the elephant in the room, this bit of a dark cloud over the school district lately concerning the Yes for Schools campaign. Was there any point at all, any reservations about coming here, considering that there has been like this, you know, issue over several indictments with other school board members, not school board members, but other employees here?
It did not color my opinion whatsoever. I looked at this as a very promising community, and although there have been issues regarding the Yes for Schools bond referendum, I see this district moving forward, and as I talk with teachers and I talk with business community and the few parents that I've had an opportunity to speak with, I hear excitement around this community and moving forward and doing the right thing for kids. And so I was not influenced by that whatsoever.
And where are you in terms of transparency? Because I know there's been some criticism from the community, people who come to the school board meeting saying, you know, the school district hasn't always been so forthcoming. Like, we're taking on this new role. Where are you with that?
I'm, you know, try to be transparent. In fact, that's one of the goals of my entry plan that I have for Berkeley County. And, you know, my plan is that each week I will issue a communication that tells the board, the community, and our staff employees, you know, what I've been doing that week and where I've been and what my, you know, feelings are about what I've seen and what I'm looking forward to. And it's all designed around the ability for me to cultivate a sense of what our strengths and what our opportunities are here in Berkeley County. And I have an open door policy. I'm generally available. I mean, sometimes you just have to close a door because you have to focus on things. I do have to do that sometimes, but for the most part, I'm very open with not only staff but with the public. I will, this week, one of the things I was talking about, I tried to do one of everything. So I had a meeting with our chamber on Tuesday morning of last week. I had my first school board meeting on Tuesday evening. I've been the whole week meeting with the cabinet leadership for Berkeley County Schools. I have today, I'm talking with you all. When I leave tomorrow, I will leave a statement about my feelings about my first week here in Berkeley County and my anticipations for coming back. I'm very interested in the fact that our website is getting ready to go through an update, and look forward to that as another opportunity to create some excitement and transparency around what's going on in Montgomery County, pardon me. I know I will say that every once in a while, okay, so forgive me.
It's okay. It's okay.
I am going back to Montgomery County tomorrow to finish packing up my belongings and come this way, but you know, I'm anxious to get to know the folks in Berkeley County. I met with the teacher forum one day last week, and tomorrow I'll do a countywide principals meeting. So I've tried to just do a little bit of everything, and it's been very engaging to be around so many energetic and dedicated people.
We met briefly at the last
Yes, we did.
Paul Bowers.
Yes, hi Paul.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
I was interested in the weekly communication. Did you say that would be public, or is that just to?
I'm gonna do it. Put it out as an email to staff, and the board and community will get a comparable communication just about where I've been, what I did, who I saw, and you know what kind of assessments I might be making from the visits and time that I spend in the schools. Because the first 6 months, I plan to spend as much time as possible in our schools, getting to know our teachers and our students and just the various communities. I mean, there are 42 schools, so you know I've got a lot of territory to cover in the next 6 months.
So that'd be something on the website or a mailing list?
I haven't had a chance to work with Amy and Katie yet exactly how, but I was envisioning, you know, either occasionally perhaps using our school messenger system and also using our website.
Okay.
And as far as the entry plan, I know you were going to talk about that. You may have already highlighted a couple of things you're going to be doing. But when November 1st gets here, what's the plan from that point forward?
Okay. I've been pretty much in the pre-entry phase this week, and actually since August the 11th, I guess it was, that they officially offered me the position. So as I prepared for the interviews, I started to get to know a lot about Berkeley County, but after they offered me the job, I really got down to reading everything that I could get my hands on, all the major documents, the advanced ed report, because the first day that I'm here will be the day that the 6-year accrediting team comes to visit Berkeley County. So reading that, going back, looking at newspaper articles and archives, I read the Strom-Thurmond report. I have watched the videos of our board meetings. So I've been in a fact-gathering mode, and so that's pretty much the pre-entry. And then the activities that I've been engaged in since last Tuesday are pretty much the pre-entry. When I hit the ground for sure on actually Sunday evening, when the advanced ed folks come to town, I will start what I call my feet on the ground listening and learning tour, and that's when I will become even more publicly accessible. I think we have 6 meet and greets scheduled in the community during the month of November. I'm speaking to at least one homeowners association, visits to schools, meeting our area. They have division superintendent meetings, so I'll be participating in those for the first time. So that's the part where I start to evaluate what are our strengths and opportunities, establish that sense of transparency, availability, and openness to the general public and to our employees, and begin the process of hopefully building a relationship that supports trust and transparency with all the stakeholders in Berkeley County.
I would ask if there are any books you've read, or I know sometimes school leaders will have certain almost gurus they follow. Have there been any big influences, and what schools of thought do you kind of align with?
Well, I think the most powerful thing in the education of children is instruction. So I'm very, very interested in what we can do instructionally to engage with students, because I think you have to engage with kids before they totally become open to what it is that you're offering them in the classroom setting. And my current district, or my past district, has done quite a bit, especially in high schools, with engagement strategies and with a big focus on high school students with engagement, and getting out of the rows of seats and doing the hands-on activities, and letting the kids put the hands on the technology instead of the technology always being focused on the teacher. Let's let the students actually get in there and use the technology and work on critical thinking skills and problem solving, and just some things to capture kids, the responders that you can use to know how many kids are really paying attention. You've probably been to some professional development activities yourself where they said, okay, you can text me with your response, or counting the number of positives and negative responders. And so I've been very interested in those kind of things. Marzano is one that I've been very influenced by for basically what I would consider the thought builders. I pay a lot of attention to the AASA information, especially Dan Dominique, who's the head of AASA, and I look at that because it has a state perspective in it, and it also has a national perspective, because we're not an island. We are a part of the United States and South Carolina and Berkeley County, so we have to look at all the levels.
One thing I heard a few weeks ago at a school board meeting was this idea of one-to-one technology, having one device per student. Berkeley County, some schools have that, some are a little ways off. Is that something you're interested in pursuing, and getting to that ratio countywide?
I would love to see that happen, because I think it levels the playing field with all the kids, no matter what their economic situation might be. It just kind of is an opportunity strategy today. And the other thing I view about it is each and every one of you go into work where you have technology available to you all the time. And long term, our students are going to be a part of the workforce, and I like to come as close as possible in the school setting to being able to give kids exposure to what they're going to find in their workplace. I have been a part of a one-to-one initiative. We started one in Montgomery County last year with our 9th graders in the high schools, and this year we did the second round of 9th graders. So we have 2 grade levels of high school students, all of whom have a one-to-one tablet device.
Wow.
I think it's powerful, and as every kid begins to have that device, it really helps teachers, I think, integrate the technology into their instruction. It's tough when some of your kids. I've done a lot of things with bring your own device and some things like that, but every kid has a different device then, and it's a little different, And so I think it's powerful,
This kind of ties into Paul's other question about what you've read and what inspires you, but just if you could just sort of sum up what your leadership style is, and maybe what sets you apart perhaps from other superintendents who've got their own style. What would you say yours is?
Well, I'm a participatory leader, actually. I don't, I look for the troops to provide input into what's going on, and try to engage multiple ideas about things and have open discussions before I come to final decisions. And a piece of it is that transparency piece too, because I do like to hear from other folks. I think probably the secret to leadership is people doing what you want them to do because they think it's the right thing and they want to do it. And so I really try to build confidence that my focus is on what is most important, which is, our kids and our teachers and the learning that takes place. And so that's kind of my style. Pretty open leader.
I'm sorry I came in a few minutes late. You may have addressed it, but with Longwell on the way, are you interested in pushing more STEM education, or what will have to change in this district to get kids ready for some of the manufacturing and more technical jobs that are going to be here?
Well, I think our first thing is going to have to be that, when Volvo opens with, 4,000, I think, new workers in the first wave in 2018, our first mission is that we have to make sure that every one of those new employees who come there believes that Berkeley County School District is a place for their children, because many of the workers are going to be parents. And to me, that's vital to continue to build a powerful reputation for the school district. Yes, I think STEM is important. I think STEAM is important. I think solving complex problems, which is really something you can do in terms of instructional strategies across the board, whether it's language arts, math, music, anything, helps kids solve complex problems. So we do have to be focused on remembering the fact that ultimately students do become the workforce, whether it's a technical part of the workforce or professional part of the workforce, but definitely we want to hold hands with the Volvo folks and with the other businesses in the community. I've been very pleased to find out just how many partnerships we do have with businesses within the community, and the Chamber has been a very, very vital and vibrant supporter of our schools. So we cannot do it alone, and we do have to have those conversations. And I think a powerful thing is to provide our teachers an opportunity to see what the modern day manufacturing plants look like. What kind of things are we asking employees to do in those businesses and industries, because they come back and they can share the relevance with the kids, what they saw and what we're doing in classrooms.
Yeah.
So
When am I
yes.
ever gonna use this?
Yes.
So, question.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. When am I ever going to use it?
Right.
Well,
And with that, obviously, is coming a lot of growth. What's your plan to attract teachers?
Well, number one, we absolutely have to attract and retain. So I think some of the things that we need to do are continue to maintain our reputation as an excellent school district, because I do think that having a track record of excellence attracts people. I think we have to continue to look at competitive compensation packages, because that also is very, very important. I think a community where people feel like it's a good place to raise their children is another very, very attractive thing in terms of recruitment and retention. And I think that Berkeley County has the opportunity to be a very attractive community for educators. I think we have to continue to watch the national trends. We have to be active in our recruitment efforts at the local colleges, as well as broaden our net somewhat, because there are communities where there are declines in student population, and sometimes that can create an opportunity to attract a quality educator from one community to another. So we need to watch those changing demographics of other school systems. I think using our own teachers to go out with us on recruitment opportunities is a huge, huge incentive, and to also consider the ability that we might have to attract a diverse teaching force, because we want to have in front of students a microcosm of what they'll find in the real world as far as the adult demographics in a school. Might get to the point even that we have to do some sign-on bonuses and start paying some things like moving expenses. I think we have to be open to the world of what is possible to attract and retain. I also believe in grow your own, and I think I don't have a good handle yet on what the future teachers activities might be here in our high schools, particularly in our middle schools, but I think there's tremendous potential to grow your own.
when you say you have to be competitive in the compensation packages, I mean, would you be looking to be competitive in the Tri-County area, or the state, nationally? I mean, who is the competition with?
The competition is national, okay, especially for things, the high demand professions, the high demand teaching areas where we may have inadequate supply, the higher level sciences, the mathematics, some of those secondary areas like school psychologists and those kind of things. It's a national market, but I think you have to start with your region because there's something that brought people here, so you need to build from the region out.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Post and Courier did a great job a couple days ago, or was it yesterday, about the growth coming to Berkeley County. Just kind of educated all of us on what's coming. I didn't realize it was quite that staggering.
Yeah.
So in the Danielle and Cainhoy area, you said you'd been down to visit. We've got, as you well know, I'm sure we have 3 great schools under construction. But it sounds like from some of those numbers and figures that we may quickly be outgrowing even the new buildings that are in the works. I know it's a lot, you're just starting, but have you thought about that yet as far as growth and how to address it? And is that going to be?
Absolutely. You know, I've read the Strom-Thurmond report. You know, it's very eye-opening, and you know, I know that we have a good handle on what we're doing with school construction through 2018, but we have to go ahead immediately and begin taking a look at what's the next tier of demands for additional space, and begin to cultivate our community and to look to the state also. You know, one of the things that has happened with change in the economics over the last few years is that, you know, there has been a total dry up of state construction money. And so obviously it'll be important to make those connections to state legislators to do that, because you can't bring business to communities and not provide the infrastructure, of which schools are just, you know, most workers are parents. You know, a great percentage of your folks who are coming are going to be parents, and so we have to provide that, or they're not going to come. They'll go where they have it. So I think that we have to begin strategically to think about what is our next wave and how will that be financed, and where are the needs in the next tier of growth. So that development of a plan will be really, really important.
One thing that's already an issue in some schools is overcrowding, and it's pretty uneven. I mean, some schools are packed to the gills. Some a little farther north in the county have a lot of space left. In the short term, what can the district be doing to relieve some of that crowding?
I think we have seen some of it already, and some of the things that have been done with some minor adjustments and shifts in attendance boundaries to allow students to go to schools where there are some seats available. I think that the creation of some of the magnet programs might have an opportunity to help with overcrowding. I think that we need to look at every opportunity to maximize the seat space that we have, and if it means looking at providing some special programs in some schools that might attract folks, and or to entertain parent choice when it works to the advantage of the school system and to the family. We obviously can't have parent choice into schools that are already overcrowded, but if we have parents who choose to go to a school that has space, that's something I would like to try to encourage and support to the extent that we can.
So in some of the schools that have the space, you would support creating magnet programs there?
Yes, or thematic programs that might attract kids and parents to them. I think it's going to also be very, very interesting to see what happens to the population patterns within the county, because when you have 4,000 new people who come to a county, they're not going to all choose to live in a high impact subdivision. Some of them are going to be attracted to our rural areas. They're going to like the acreage kind of places for a home, or that kind of thing. And so I think we might see that population might begin to build in some of the areas where there have been downturns to this point. Like I said, I went from Daniel Island. all the way up through some of the Somerville areas on Saturday, and got a real chance to see just the sparsity in some areas and then 10,000 houses in another area. So I think we're going to have to watch what the patterns are.
Generally, are you bullish on school choice and magnets? I mean, do you think that's something that the district should be expanding?
I think, I would not say bullish is the word, but I think that growing districts have to look at all the opportunities that there might be to engage with students and parents where they are, where there's space, and where you might have an opportunity to create something that's attractive that would allow you to expand the use of a school that might be currently underutilized. I think, you know, even grade level configurations are a way to sometimes attract parents. I've seen another, I know you have some of them, the K-8 schools, I believe, and a lot of parents find that extremely attractive. One place, they get to know everybody, and you know, spend 8 years in one place and then your last 4 in another place. So. And you got some, you know, kind of neat reuses of spaces here as well.
One thing that's happened a few times in the current, or I guess some of the more recent building projects, is a developer has put in a new subdivision and donated the tract of land and said, here, the district can build a school right here in the middle of the subdivision. You know, that ends up being an attraction for families who want to live there, and the district gets free land. Is that, you know, as we look to the future and the next kind of wave of building projects, is that a model that you'd want to follow again? Would you
absolutely a win-win. It's absolutely a win-win. And you know, there are communities where large developments are even required to set aside space for schools, and I think that it's a very good way to address growing communities.
Good?
Yeah, good.
Good.
So you're still visiting